Joining us now, the Justice Minister Jeremy Wright, Rob Owen, the Chief Executive of the St Giles Trust, whose work you saw in Simon's piece there, and Sarah Billiald from the Probation Chiefs Association, who is also Chief Executive of Kent Probation Service. Minister, let's start with you. Not a revolution, but evolution, and yet surely a revolution is if you simply do what you're going to do, which is wholesale privatisation of an entire segment of the less serious offenders.
Well, I wouldn't categorise it like that. What I'd say is this. What we're trying to do is bring in new ideas. So people in the voluntary sector, in the community sector and in the private sector who have good ideas to bring to the table as to how we get reoffending rates down, we want to see those good ideas put into practice. There will be those high-risk offenders managed directly by the public sector probation service, but for many, many others, we will be able to see more mentoring, more of the sort of work that you've seen Wendy and describe in the package. That will help to bring reoffending down. If they succeed in that, they will be rewarded for it. If they don't, they won't get the full contract value. That's what we want to see. And we're also, of course, looking to bring into the equation those people who've been sentenced to 12 months or less, for whom at the moment there is no intervention, no supervision. Those people have higher even than average reoffending rates. We want to see them brought into the equation as well.
Well, Rob Owen, it was your organisation that brought about the mentoring of Wendy, who we saw in the film. So this is music to your ears?
No, obviously we're thrilled by this. We want to take centre stage in this, a bold and brave new revolution, reoffending revolution. I mean, to us, what we want to be able to bring to the table, and working in partnership with the statutory agencies, is a new way of looking at things. And I think for us, it's about focusing on the under 12 months, those who aren't getting any real support at the moment, and letting everyone be met at the gate by a trained, very motivated ex-offender, someone who's genuinely credible and able to help turn that person's life around.
Yeah, but this is not going to be a world in which you have first choice, as it were, because you're going to be in competition with raw commercial operators. Can you beat them?
Well, we think our results will speak for themselves. What we want to do is become incredibly attractive to other possible primes. We're an ambitious organisation. We may want to lead on something.
But they can afford to fail more often than you can. I mean, if you have a very complex case which simply does not deliver and the individual reoffends, he's not going to pay you any money. And that means for a voluntary sector outfit like yours, you're going to find it difficult to survive.
No, and the finances are, and the devil is in the detail to a degree, and we're obviously very keen that it's not just a pure binary mechanism of measuring success, that there is a scope for working with those that are more prolific, there's a higher tariff for those that are more complicated, but all these things will be worked through. But at the end of the day, what we're world-class at is employing people like Wendy who can really engage and dramatically lower reoffending rates.
Sarah Billiald, isn't this actually promising a more holistic service than you can deliver?
Unfortunately not, and whilst we welcome the proposals about the under 12-month sentenced people who have had no statutory supervision and probation have not been allowed to have any role with them previously, what this is doing is taking the 240,000 people that probation currently manage and leaving only 50,000 of them with the probation service. Now, whilst those are the most serious and dangerous offenders, the other 190,000 still need offender management. This will be whole-scale outsourced. These people are actually risky individuals. They will be prolific burglars, they will have child protection issues, they are domestic abuse cases, they are gang members. These are the sort of people that were being outsourced. And what probation feels is that you need this strong accountability of the probation service managing the end-to-end management of that case and the risk management in order to preserve integrity.
Well, what would you like to say to the Minister that you feel leaves you vulnerable in a service like this?
Okay. Before that, I mean, the thing I find exciting about this is that for the first time there'll be a real focus on the rehabilitation side. The fact that there'll be armies of people like St Giles Trust, peer advisors, been actually meeting offenders at the gate to work on
will they be St Giles Trust, or will they be A4E, for example, who did such a thoroughly bad job when it came to work and pensions?
I'm sure the Minister's listening. It'll obviously all be St Giles Trust.
Well, it might as well be. We might as well ask him that. Well, how do you see the balance between raw commercial bidders, like A4E, for example, and St Giles Trust, which is, after all, a charity?
Well, I think there are two things to say. The first thing is that it will not necessarily be the case that one single organisation runs one of these contracts. It may be a collaborative effort. There may be a number of different organisations. And someone like St Giles Trust may be the only organisation, maybe the lead organisation, it may be one of those that's contributing. And that is important because we do want to see cooperation in all of this. The other thing to say is that any private sector organisation will have to demonstrate to us not just that they can do this cheaper, but that they can do it up to the required quality. They'll need to show us that they can meet those quality standards. And I suspect, in answer to Sarah's point, that quite a lot of what will happen will be done by people currently now employed in public sector probation service as probation officers or probation service officers. And what we're going to want to see, and what we will build into the contract design, is people looking at how you deliver those reductions in rehabilitation. And how you will deliver that is to look at life management, to look at mentoring, at all the things that Rob was describing. People with common sense in whatever sector who want to take on this work and achieve results, and bear in mind they'll be rewarded if they do, will want to look at how you best do that. And how you best do that is a variety of methods.
What would you say to the Minister on that?
Well, I think the issue is that probation have, over the past 10 years, reduced reoffending by 10% with the people that we work with. And therefore, we think we have the skills and the expertise to contribute not just to protecting the public, but to reducing reoffending. And we would want to call for an open, level playing field to allow public sector to also be competing for these contracts.
You see, surely the attack that Labour made today was that this is a wholesale package of reform which is going to affect 70% of the people who go through the probation system. Why are you doing it in one fell swoop? Why not do a trial somewhere and see if it works? No one's ever done it.
Well, we do want to get on with it, and it's not true to say that there have been no trials or no pilots. There have been several, and we've learned a great deal from them. And it's, of course, right to say that you don't just learn from pilots that work. Sometimes you learn from pilots that don't. So there's been a good deal of learning. I think in terms of risk of harm, it's important to make the point that for all offenders, risk of causing serious harm will be monitored and supervised by probation officers.
Okay, well, and you're bursting to get in with that.
That's important.
Well, no, I think there's the risk angle, but then there is a lot of evidence to show that work done in partnership with Probation Trust can, the work that St Giles Trust does is able to reduce reoffending rates significantly because you're focusing on the underlying issues.
But you've never had to operate in a commercial field like this,
we have.
where you're having to battle a different organisation.
Every day we're living in a commercial field. We're a very commercial charity. We understand that our main mission is to make sure we can service and look after our clients. Now, the whole raison d'etre for St Giles Trust is employing ex-offenders to help other offenders. Now, if our staff feel engaged, they will do a fantastic job. They will go the extra mile for our clients, and we will get dramatically better results. And we don't mind getting paid for that. And that's where it comes down to.
I'm afraid on that optimistic note, we're going to have to leave it, but we'll watch this with great interest. Thank you very much indeed, Minister, and thank both of you too.